Hey everyone, welcome to Homestead Corner. Today I want to talk about these food shortages and what they really mean. So there is all kinds of talk about food shortages, and a lot of people I don't think really grasp what that looks like. And if you look around at all the different information that's out there, it is not just some little food shortage. There is global famine on on the way. There has so many indicators and things like that, and you can find tons of information about this out there. And not everybody's calling it that. Everyone's calling it different things, and they want to call it a food shortage, or uh, there's not enough and we all got to blame somebody for it. And there are tons of different reasons for why this is happening, and everything is just coming together in that perfect storm. So I think it's really important just to take a few minutes, just a few articles I wanted to share with you guys about these shortages and famine and lack of whatever you want to call it. And this really, for those people that don't understand, this is more than you can even imagine. The first thing I wanted to talk about is, our president here in the United States said there were real food shortages coming. Real food shortages, he's calling them shortages, and it sounds like, a few things are going to be missing off the shelf. We're not going to have quite enough of what we normally have. If you look at just what he said, but if you look around at other countries, what is going on and what they're saying, and add these all together, you really get a much better picture. And I know a lot of people don't do tons of research online, look around, read articles. I try to stay away from the news because, it's all a bunch of crap anyway. But if you take the pieces and put them together, you can see a very clear picture. In Germany, just a few days ago, they announced an increase in food 20 to 50%. That prices out a lot of people that are on fixed incomes and things like that. So we need to be prepared for stuff like that to happen here for us as well. This isn't just in one place. In Sri Lanka, there have been all kinds of violent riots and things like that because of the economy is so low. It is so hard to get things. They are having an extremely hard time in Sri Lanka. So that's another one to keep an eye on. Definitely, people are being arrested. At one point, the government shut down social media because they didn't like that people were organizing these protests through social media. So I believe that it has been turned back on, but again, if you just look on the internet, you will find all kinds of information about this stuff. The next thing is the French foreign minister is warning of global famine. It's extremely serious. They're not just a little bit extremely serious. Yeah, this is extremely serious. And people don't understand the severity of this. People are going to go hungry and people are going to starve to death because of this. And it's more than one thing. A lot of these articles are like blaming it on a war, but there are lots of other things. If you read through the articles, you'll see there's also, the lack of water, lots of droughts all over the place. There's all kinds of stuff. There was going to be food shortages this year, even if there wasn't a war, I believe. Um, Also, farms in developing countries, South America, over in Africa, lots of places that are developing. They provide a lot of food to us, and all around the world, coffees, avocados, things like that. They are in these countries, they're not able to afford fertilizers because there has been such an increase on fertilizer. So there's going to be the lack of those items. They can't grow as much, or they can't, some places aren't going to grow any. They're really, shrinking down their production, and which is going to cause huge, huge problems. Also, a lot of places in Africa are really struggling with that cost of that fertilizer, and without it, they are not able to grow food. The lack is going to be, the amount of over 100 million people not being able to eat. Not, it'll be that much food loss just from one country, they're saying. Another one in Spain, they're already starting to ration certain foods and things like that. They're having trouble getting them imported into the country, things that they rely on for imports and things like that. It's your flours and sugars and oils and things like that. They're very difficult to get a hold of, and they are rationing them to keep the supply as even as possible for people. And the government is allowing different, all the stores to ration what they see fit. And let's see, Greece also rationing sugars, flours, oils, things like that. They're already rationing this stuff to spread it out the best they can. And because it's lack of, not only supplies, it's also lack of drivers to get the supplies delivered to the stores and things like that. So it's not just one thing, it's a lot of things all together. And the UN is warning, I wrote myself little notes because boy, do I forget stuff. Um, lack, the lack of food in Africa and the Middle East can cause a huge mass migration into Europe, which is really going to could cause huge problems. So they are trying to get food to these places and, feed them there so they're not tempted to migrate as much. But in these situations when South America, they will migrate where they think they will get food, which will probably be towards America. And, because we're looked at like we have so much. Unfortunately, we don't have as much as we used to have, and it's only going to get worse. And the same with Europe, these European countries that were able to get everything that they need all the time. Now they are struggling to get things into the stores. They are struggling to keep stock in the stores. And this, when it happens in these other countries, they want to go to the countries where they think there's going to be a lot more. And it's not necessarily going to be the case because this is a global problem. This is not just a little teeny thing. It's not one little country going without. Everyone is going to be going without. So I just wanted to put all this together for you in one little video. And if you want to look in the description down below, I will have links to all kinds of articles. And there are tons more. Just search it online. You will find tons of information. This is going to be the worst food shortage, I believe, since in history that we can remember, in memory. And since World War II, they're saying this could be as the worst since then. It could be even worse than that. I mean, let's be realistic. We have a lot more people now, and these shortages and lack of is going to get worse and worse and worse over time. Take a little bit of time, check your pantries. A lot of countries are reporting that some of the first things to go are those grains, flours, the buckwheat, things like that. The prices are skyrocketing. Your sugars and oils, if you use sugar, even if you don't use sugar, if you use a different kind of sweetener, monk fruit, honey, the stevia, whatever it is, when people cannot get the sugar that they normally buy, they're going to buy other things. So whatever it is that you stock in your food storage, definitely make sure you're ahead on that right now before it becomes a problem here and we're unable to get it. And get those gardens going. The more you can grow yourself, the less dependent you will be on needing things from the grocery store. Do as much as you can. That is going to be your best bet. If you can grow anything you can grow in pots, people grow food in tires. People are going to tell you only grow food in food safe containers. You do what you got to do. It is more important to have the food than making sure it is 100% what someone else approves of. And one more thing, as this progresses and gets worse and worse, there is a possibility if it gets to a certain point, the government might decide to put martial law in effect because of riots or whatever their reasoning is. They get to decide this. So when that happens, if martial law goes into effect, there is a clause in there that they can come and take your food. If they believe that you have a lot of food, they can come and look and see if they can find it. So keeping your supplies in different places, not only because of that, also people may try to break into your home. People, if they think you have supplies, they're going to try and get them if they can't get them on their own another way. So being prepared to protect your stuff and not keeping it in one place is the best thing you can do. That's it for today. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.